This is Citizen Live at 1. A very good afternoon and thank you for joining us. I'm Hussein Mohammed. The Supreme Court will tomorrow issue a directive on whether or not to stay orders of a court of appeal ruling declaring as void the license issued to the Pan-African Network Group, permitting it to broadcast free-to-air channels. The Attorney General, together with lawyers representing Pan Group and Star Times, want the order stayed pending the appeal case at the Supreme Court. However, media houses want the Supreme Court to effect the orders of the Court of Appeal, arguing that staying the orders will give an unfair advantage to the Chinese company, which, despite the orders of the Court of Appeal, continues to broadcast their signal illegally.
And we are not interested in broadcasting those channels until the appeal is heard and conversation.
It is not correct that Star Times has stopped violating our intellectual property. KTN, Citizen, and the Nation. What they continue to do is that with each media house, the prime time is news time. That is why the most expensive adverts appear in prime time. Even as last night, they were still broadcasting our news. They switch on our news just before the news hour. They switch us off after the news hour. That is what they are asking they should continue to do.
I can give an undertaking now, and I've got instructions from the Commission, that we can issue an immediate advice to all signal distributors and other persons to cease those transmissions pending hearing and determination of this appeal, subject to the staying of that declaration of illegality.
Interior Principal Secretary Mutia Iringo has maintained the government will not back down from the current screening of all suspected foreigners, despite some criticism of the exercise by several human rights groups. Speaking in Nandi County, Iringo said the swoops targeting illegal immigrants will continue as the government steps up the war on terror. Alex Kubasu has the details.
Interior Principal Secretary Mutia Iringo has maintained that the government will not relent in its quest to ensure that all illegal immigrants are apprehended and deported as it moves to stem the wave of terror attacks that has hit the country in the past 1 year.
We have declared war on crime, general crime, terrorism, going into poaching, so that Kenyans will feel safe and also be able to engage in meaningful development.
The PS was meeting local leaders in Kiambu County to discuss issues of security, called on residents and Kenyans in general to know their neighbors in line with the Nyumba Kumi initiative. He at the same time directed all refugees to remain stationed at their designated refugee camps.
Refugees must remain in the Dadaab and Kakuma refugee camps. If you're not there and we catch up with you, then we have to take you to court.
The pronouncement by the Interior PS come only a day after the government deported 82 Somali nationals who were in the country illegally as part of the ongoing Usalama Watch operation that has seen close to 4,000 suspected illegal immigrants nabbed in the past 1 week. 472 suspected illegal immigrants are being held at various police stations across the country, with about 101 of them currently undergoing screening at the Safaricom Stadium to ascertain their nationalities. The government has at the same time denied claims by civil rights organizations that police have abused some of the suspects and stolen their valuables.
The CC members present.
The Interior Principal Secretary, however, stated that a report on the overall screening exercise will be released in the next 1 week and handed over to the relevant authorities for further action. Alex Kubasu for Citizen Live at 1.
Well, the screening is still going on as you speak right now, and Michael Njenga is our reporter at Safaricom Stadium. He joins us live now on phone. Mike, what's the latest?
Good afternoon, Hussein Mohammed. Yes, we are at Kasarani Stadium, and the situation today is a little bit quiet. Unlike yesterday, members, members of the press and everybody else was allowed to go in. Today, the situation is different. So far, the policemen have spoken with, telling us that nobody has been brought. Only 4 people have been brought here today, but they're expecting that the rest will be coming in a short while. But the situation here is calm. Given that the place has been gazetted as a police station, you can imagine the kind of the kind of security that is here right now. We're still not allowed to go in, unlike yesterday when everybody was allowed to go in and film. Today we are not allowed to go in. We have to stay away, quite far away from where the screening is going on, Hussein.
Mike, police say they want to give a report of what has been happening in the next 1 week. Does that mean that the operation is going to end in 1 week, or are they giving any timelines as to when this is going to end?
Well, saying the PS Internal Security Mutairingo spoke yesterday and said that this is still going on. The operation will still go on. He said for the next 7 days, the operation will still go on. So we're anticipating that probably this will be a very busy area in the coming days, even before they give a report on how many people they have. They have taken back to Somali, how many people they have arrested, how many people have been taken to court. Kasarani Stadium will continue to be a beehive of activities here because they say for the next 7 days the operation will continue. So we're expecting more and more people will be brought for screening here. Right,
Michael Jenga, reporter, joining us live from Kasarani. Join him later, of course, in our subsequent bulletins on what may have transpired there today. Meanwhile, members of parliament allied to the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, have condemned the ongoing screening of suspected foreigners at the Kasarani Stadium and likened conditions at the stadium to those in a concentration camp. Now, speaking during a press conference at Orange House, Nairobi today, the members who are led by Kisumu Senator Professor Anyang' Nyong'o said there should be a proper strategy in carrying out the war on terror. The ODM leaders have warned that such sensitive operations must not appear to be targeting a certain community or section of the society and must be carried out fairly and professionally.
What has really happened is that Al-Shabaab, having been beaten in Somalia, has brought the front into the country, into Nairobi. That being said, it is acceptable that people should be screened. However, it is important that we do not use that to say every Somali person is a terrorist.
The government has a duty to provide security and to nab the right suspects for terrorism and deal with them severely. The government has no right whatsoever to violate our constitution and hold 3,000 people at Kasarani without access to their leaders. We have been denied access to Kasarani Stadium to see and observe what's going on as elected representatives of people.
As opposed to taking a one-off soup in Isili and looking for immigrants, it simply shows that something is wrong within our borders. One, borders are either porous. Two, internal security is asleep on the job. So instead of dealing with symptoms of this particular disease of insecurity, I think we need to go down to find the root cause.
Now, a 90 million shilling farming project has been initiated by the Kenya Red Cross Society in Dertu Dadaab constituency as part of programs aimed at improving food security in the drought-prone Garissa County. Now, farmers in the area are now reaping the fruits of their hard work and earning decent profits in the process.
Acre by acre, Garissa County is witnessing a green revolution. Where idle land once stood, bountiful farms now dot the landscape. And the farmers here keep tilling their land as they change their fortunes day after day. According to Sahal Hassan, the head of the Kenya Red Cross operations in the area, the 55-hectare project is the result of follow-up programs to the Kenyans for Kenya initiative that was started in 2012 to fight hunger in the country. The dental program aims to benefit about 500 households in its first phase.
This is the way forward for Northeastern, and I have no doubts that with such similar initiatives from humanitarian agencies, the government, whether the central or the county government, this will take the communities way far.
The Red Cross official says convincing locals to shift from pastoralism to farming has been a challenge so far, but slowly there appears to be some significant progress on this front. The Garissa County government has also insisted it will focus more resources in boosting agricultural production in the county.
Some of the challenges probably is transforming from pastoral to agro-livelihood for especially nomadic communities may not be easy.
Garissa County has seen an upsurge in farming, particularly in areas close to the banks of the Tana River.
Nandi County Governor Dr. Cleophas Lagat has warned the newly appointed chief officers in his administration against misappropriation of county funds meant for development. The governor says taxpayers expect the officials to deliver and utilize county funds prudently. Now, speaking during the swearing-in of principal secretaries in the Nandi County government, Governor Lagat warned that those officers found to have misused public funds will be sacked. This comes as a sigh of relief for the governor, whose administration has been running without the chief officers since its formation early last year.
I shall always, truly, and diligently serve.
Hii tunataka kufanya kazi na kila mtu, na kama kuna mtu amechaguliwa na wananchi, ninaomba kila mtu afanye kazi yenye aliomba.
Now, police in West Pokot County have destroyed over 400 litres of illicit brew and arrested 5 commercial brewers and several consumers. The suspects were arrested in an operation to eradicate the production and consumption of illicit liquor in the country. Sedikos Gay with that story.
Consumption of illicit brew has been blamed for a rise in other vices in West Pokot County, and authorities have moved to put a stop in the production and consumption of the illicit brews in this vast county.
The serious claims we have here, for example, like development cases, kushika watoto wandogo, maneno ya lip, maneno ya assault, kiini cha maneno haya, those offenses, it is as a result of watu kulewa na ipombe.
A contingent of police officers led by West Pokot OCPD Macharia Ruku raided various illicit brew dens in Mathare, Aramaget, Litei and Mawingo Road estates in Makutano and Kapenguria towns as the crackdown on the vice went a notch higher. And perhaps just to prove how rooted the problem is, these women who were found drunk in the middle of the day did not seem to grasp how serious the situation was. The OCPD says that those most affected were the youth who were spending too much time in the drinking dens, leaving them with little or no time to concentrate on improving their lives.
Huu ni wakati wa kupalilia mashamba, unakuta mama kama hawa tukishika, wawe ni wa kukunywa, ni wa kununua, wawe ni wa kupika, wote sasa na sasa ni kama kitu kama saa 6, wote ni walevi. Then at the end of the day, kazi zingine hawawezi. So there is a lot of wasting of time, plus also the economic part of it is not economic.
Macharia said the police would not relent in their quest to carry out such operations until they eradicated consumption of illicit brew in the region. Zedikos gave for Citizen Live at 1.
Nakuru Governor Kinuthia Mbogwa has asked residents there to be extra vigilant and help identify any terror suspects possibly living in their midst. Now, speaking during a Meet the People tour in parts of Nakuru County, Mbogwa, who is a former administration police commandant, called on the locals to cooperate with law enforcers in the region as they step up the war on terror and crime. Diana Kariuki has more.
With the threat of terror having forced authorities to conduct swoops across major towns countrywide, Nakuru Governor Kinuthia Mbogwa joined the growing list of leaders who are calling upon members of the public to play their part in ensuring their neighborhoods are safer.
Terrorists are normally very patient. They can rent a house here and stay in that house for 5 years, for 10 years, for 20 years, just waiting. They are never in a hurry.
The Nakuru governor also assured the residents that their grievances about some sections of the proposed county finance bill will be addressed.
Na wengine wenu mliona iko juu. Wale mnauza soko, wale mnafanya matatu, wale wanafanya biashara zingine. Na tunairudisha kwa mbunge yetu ambao waheshimiwa MCAs wamesema wataangalia ili mambo ya licenses ambao tulikuwa tumeweka juu iweze kwenda nini chini.
The governor spoke after inspecting the ongoing development projects in the Free Area Township in Nakuru East constituency. Diana Karaoke, Citizen Live at 1.
As far as
now, the annual Kenya National Drama Festivals enter day 4 today at 2 venues in Nandi County. Primary schools are showcasing their pieces at Bishop Gatimungandu Girls Secondary School, while high schools colleges are at the Kigumo Teachers Training College. Over 10,000 participants from 700 schools and colleges are participating in the festivals, which will end on the 15th of April. David Owira, also known as Otongolo Time, one of the standout participants in last year's event, and whose solo verse earned him a State House invite, returned with another solo verse at this year's festivals.
It is the 5th day of the National Drama Festivals ongoing in Nyeri. And still the energy of the performances has not slowed. So far, over 200 items of various genres have been presented both at the Bishop Gatimungandu Girls and the Kigumo Teachers Training College.
they started to ruthlessly, mercilessly, skillfully deal with me. It was a slap here, Kupa, a bench here, Kupi.
David Owira alias Otongolo Time is here too, and for the second year running, his solo verse has left the audience in stitches.
With the hangover of my United supporters who have seen the English Premier League treble.
Now, the promise to provide free laptops to Class 1 pupils is believed to have won the Jubilee Coalition the hearts of many voters and thereby propelling it to a crucial elections victory. But a year later, expectant pupils are still anxiously staring at the school gate for the promised laptops delivery. And all the recent setbacks in the tendering process suggest the wait will be longer, perhaps long enough for the would-be pioneer beneficiaries to have moved on to Class 2. The hope for the Jubilee trademark pledge remains largely alive.
The implementation of the much-hyped Laptops for Schools project may have first run into teething problems in October last year, but Standard 1 pupils are still holding on to that promise. The logistical hiccups that have forced them to wait longer for the laptops may not be understood by Standard 1 pupils at Olympics Primary School in Kibera. What they do remember, however, all too well is President Uhuru Kenyatta's and his deputy William Ruto's promise.
Naba inakuwa haya jina ingine
alisema katushuhudia ati kama tumeingia class 1 tunatumia nayo.
Their expectations are still rife, and not just for Class 1 pupils. Many more hope to be part of the envisioned ICT survey generation.
Niko darasa la pili 2G. Ndiyo, niko tayari kusoma masuala ya kompyuta. Mwanzo pia itakuwa ni rahisi kwetu sisi wanafunzi. Na madam serikali ishajitolea. Mimi ningependa kama ingekuwa haraka zaidi kama tukapata, pia vile vile ingekuwa tunapata ujuzi fulani katika hayo masuala ya kompyuta.
The High Court temporarily stopped the laptop tender process after Indian firm Olive Telecommunications challenged the decision by the Public Procurement Administrative Review Board to cancel their award of the laptop tender. But these pupils know little about the controversy.
Nilikuwa nadhani nikiingia class 1 nitapata laptop. Na sasa nikiingia class 1 sijapata laptop. Na sasa natamani hata laptop. My class teacher tells me president will bring the laptops or computers and will not get it. Will not get the laptops So we want the laptops.
Only that they're in class 1 and still have no laptops, even as they're about to close school this first term.
Ngoja laptop kwa hamu na gamu, lakini sioni kama tutapata.
Musijali. Laptop mtapata.
The Ministry of Education says by the end of June 2014, 78% of schools will have been connected to the electricity grid in readiness for the rollout of the laptop project.
Business news now, and the government has pledged to address the high cost of production that has been a country's textile industry. Speaking during a fact-finding mission at the Rift Valley Textile Company, Rivertex, in Eldoret, Industrialization Cabinet Secretary Adan Mohammed cited high electricity costs as one of the major costs that have made locally made textile goods to be uncompetitive in the global market. Adan also promised that the government would speed up the revival of Kenya's cotton sector and source for markets for farmers both locally and beyond. Kenya's textile industry has been in limbo since the 1990s with the onset of the second-hand clothing imports, popularly referred as to mitumba clothing.
If you think about the value chain for textile, we have all the necessary ingredients to make a very, very successful textile industry in this country. Cotton is the main raw material. We have potential to grow cotton for consumption in this country, but also for export.
Now, would you ditch a career in the beauty industry for pig farming? Well, that is precisely what Jennifer Wanjiku did 4 years ago. Our reporter Dennis Otieno traveled to Nandi County, where Jennifer shared her experiences in the pig farming business.
It's 9 a.m. Time for Jennifer Wanjiku to do her rounds on a pig farm. 15 years ago, Jennifer was in a different setting altogether.
I was a beautician. Same time I did cosmetology course. I started pig farming in 2009. 2009? Yeah, properly. I researched a lot. I used to go for seminars. Yeah, and that's how I found out about pigs. And I wanted to do something extraordinary from what people are rearing these days.
To venture in pig farming, Jennifer took a loan of 50,000 shillings from the Women's Entrepreneurship Fund that enabled her to start with 4 pigs. Today, she rears 175 pigs. Given the fast rate at which pigs breed, which is between 5.5 to 6 months, the main cost Jennifer incurs is that of feeding them. Although pigs are known to eat virtually anything, according to Jennifer, not everything is fit for consumption as far as pig farming goes.
Yes, at this age, they take pig finisher. They're the breeding sows they take soenduina. Yeah, and they're the small pigs which you give them the pellets. Because of the population I have, I think I'm using about 3,000. That's about 3,000 a day.
The key challenges associated with pig farming are mainly due to religion and culture. But for Jennifer, this animal that has been perceived by some as a dirty animal is the main reason behind her wealth. Jennifer currently has a contract with a local meat processing company that buys between 10 and 15 pigs every month from her farm. She gets 215 shillings per kilo, which translates to a monthly turnover of 200,000 shillings.
I sell breeds, the breeders, like between 12 to 14 piglets. Yeah, and I sell each pig at 30,000. On the other side, the brokers also come. They are also willing buyers. But if you check at the rate they buy with, I'm not comfortable with that.
There's also money to be made from what stays in the pigsty.
They give me manure. I sell manure. I sell a lorry for 10,000.
And for those who are willing to consider going into pig farming,
start small and grow the business. Yeah, be patient. At the end of the day, it will pay.
For Citizen TV's Smart Farm from Nandi County, I am Dennis Otieno.
Nigeria's biggest company by market capitalization, Dangote Cement, expects to double its cement production capacity across Africa this year to 40 million tons. According to the company's chief executive, Devakumar Edwin, the firm would add 9 million tons to its Nigeria operations, bringing them to 29 million tons, and open plants across Africa that have been several years in the making, adding a further 11 million tons. Now, Kenya is among the countries that Dangote Cement plans to venture into in the near future, with the government now in the advanced stages of licensing the company to commence its operations in Kitui County.
Dangote Cement, owned by Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, with a personal fortune of $25 billion, which is equivalent to 2 trillion shillings, saw its 2013 profit increase by 40% to 190.76 billion naira, or 99 billion shillings. Dangote has cement plants spanning Africa, from Senegal to South Africa, but most have been in construction phase, and between them, they contribute less than 1 million tons to the group's current overall production capacity. That would change this year as plants in various countries, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Cameroon, Zambia, South Africa and Ethiopia, come on tap.
We have always been keeping a very strong focus on controlling our costs. Volume has been the key driver, and as you know, as a strategy from the time we started, we have been growing our capacities. So the volume growth has been the key driver, and that's why even in the current year, the current capacity of our operations in Nigeria is 20 million tons, and by the middle of this year we'll be adding up another 9 million tons within Nigeria, and before the end of the year another 11 million tons outside Nigeria. So by the end of the year we'll be doubling our installed capacity from 20 million tons to 40 million tons.
Additional capacity in Ivory Coast, Ghana, Liberia, Tanzania, Congo and in Nigeria would mean that by mid-2016, Dangote would have a 60 million ton capacity.
If you look at 2015, we'll be adding capacity in Tanzania. If you look at 2016, we'll be adding capacity in Congo. So in 2015, additional capacities will also come up within the West African coast, like in Cote d'Ivoire, capacity will come up, and in Liberia, capacity will come up. Ghana will be adding up the capacity. So every year we have been projecting a growth, and so that is why even as we are doing the project in Tanzania, we are about to start in Congo. We are already secured the mining license in Kenya. We are working on Mozambique. We are working. So our focus is continuously on adding new capacities.
Almost all of this expansion has been funded with internal cash flows, unlike rivals. Dangote's main rival in its home market is France's Lafarge.
One is we are an entrepreneur-driven company, so our strategy in the past has always been growth through internal cash generation. And when we saw the global economic crisis hitting everybody, we also realized that the way we have been funding our operation had been very helpful. You know where the major cement majors are today, because they had borrowed heavily for their mergers and acquisitions, and they have been left with a very high exposure. And one of the key reasons we have been able to very aggressively grow in the African market without much of a competition from other cement majors is because they are cash strapped, and we do not have that kind of a problem.
Dangote has also said it intends to list in London, although a plan to do so last year had been put back. Analysts say corporate governance issues remain a hurdle. Edwin denied that. He said the company had fulfilled a list of requirements, including appointing an independent board and carrying out appropriate financial reporting. The reason it was taking time to list was that investors had not fully appreciated the value of Dangote's non-producing assets outside Nigeria, but that is slowly changing.
They have been giving full value to our Nigerian operation, but not much of value to the African expansion. So we decided that, okay, it doesn't make any sense for us to go and put it in the London Stock Exchange and undersell the shares, because we want to realize the full potential, full value of the shares. And so that's one of the reasons we have been hesitating. But recently, some of the major bankers came to us to show the last year's, the 2013 increase in the share price more or less takes care of all the value of potential expected earnings in the future coming from this African expansion.
Edwin added that the company hoped to list sometime next year.
Let's take a look at the currency markets now, and the shilling remained relatively stable to the US dollar during mid-morning trade trading today, boosted by dollar inflows from the tea sector. The Central Bank of Kenya has quoted the shilling at a mean indicative rate of 86 shillings 56 cents against the US dollar. The shilling, however, continued its weakening streak against the major European currencies, exchanging at 119 shillings and 67 cents buying against the euro, and 145 shillings and 7 cents buying to the sterling pound. And finally, on the regional front, the local shilling posted mixed trading results, weakening to the Ugandan shilling to trade at 29 shillings and 18 cents buying, while getting to the Tanzanian shilling to trade at 18 shillings and 70 cents buying. And that's all in business. Back to the local news, and baby Saturn Osinya, who was shot in the head by gunmen who attacked a church in Likoni last month, has been discharged from the Kenyatta National Hospital a short while ago. Baby Saturn had been successfully operated on by a team of neurosurgeons recently, and the bullet lodged in his head removed. His father, Benson Osinya, thanked the medical team that treated his son, who has since fully recuperated. Baby Saturn lost his mother in the gun attack at the Likoni church.
Asante sana. Mambo. Bye. Mambo. Yaje. Unachekeaje wapi? Unachekeaje wapi?
As Kenyatta National Hospital family, we are going to miss him. He had become a member or part of us, and so we want to say that we'll miss him, but of course we'll follow up very closely. Our doctors, though we have discharged him, we are going to do follow-up of this child to ensure that all the care that he still requires now medically is going to be met.
I also thank all the people here in Kenya and worldwide who contributed in prayers, who prayed for my child, and the surgeons who attended to my kid. I thank them very much. Here in Kenya, I thank all the people who contributed in all ways.
Well, for the highlights of last night's Champions League matches, plus more in sports news, stay tuned for the awesome Wahiga Mora after the break in sports.
Your career choice should begin early with your course selections, choice of part-time jobs, and extracurricular experiences.
Enroll at the Cooperative University College of Kenya for Masters, Bachelor's,